Genesis 48. After these things, Joseph was told, "Your father is weakening." So he took his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, with him. When Jacob was told, "Your son Joseph has just come to you," Israel regained strength and sat up on his bed. Jacob said to Joseph, "The sovereign God appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. He said to me, 'I am going to make you fruitful and will multiply you. I will make you into a group of nations, and I will give this land to your descendants as an everlasting possession.' Now, as for your 2 sons who were born to you in the land of Egypt, before I came to you in Egypt, they will be mine. Ephraim and Manasseh will be mine, as Reuben and Simeon are. As children that you father after them will be yours. They will be listed under the names of their brothers in their inheritance. But as for me, I've lost my place. When I was returning from Padan, Rachel died to my sorrow in the land of Canaan. It happened along the way, some distance from Ephraim. So I buried her there on the way to Ephraim, that is, Bethlehem. When Israel saw Joseph's sons, he asked, "Who are these?" Joseph said to his father, "They are the sons God gave me in this place." His father said, "Bring them to me so I may bless them." Now Israel's eyes were failing because of his age. He was not able to see well. So Joseph brought his sons near to him, and his father kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, "I never expected to see you again, but now God has allowed me to see your children too." So Joseph moved them from Israel's knees and bowed down with his face to the ground. Joseph positioned them. He put Ephraim on the right hand across from Israel's left, and Manasseh on the left across from Israel's right. Then Joseph brought them closer to his father. Israel stretched out his right hand and placed it on Ephraim's head, although he was the younger, crossing his hand, so he put his left hand on Manasseh's head, for Manasseh was the firstborn. Then he blessed Joseph and said, "May the God before whom my father Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life long to this day, the angel who has protected me from all harm, bless these boys. May my name be named in them and the name of my father Abraham and Isaac. May they grow into a multitude on earth." Then Joseph saw that his father had placed the right hand on Ephraim's head. It displeased him. So he took his father's hand to move it from Ephraim's head to Manasseh's head. Joseph said to his father, "Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put your right hand on his head." But his father refused and said, "I know, my son, I know. He too will become a nation, and he too will become great. In spite of this, his younger brother will be even greater, and his descendants will become a multitude of nations." So he blessed them that day, saying, "By you will Israel be blessed," saying, "May God make us like Ephraim and Manasseh." Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. Then Israel said to Joseph, "I am about to die, but God will be with you and will bring you back to the land of our fathers. As one who is above your brothers, I give to you the mountain slope, which I took from the Amorites with the sword and the bow." All right, there we have the end of that. So we have Jacob being old. Okay, haha, the U.S. pilot, the fighter plane shot down, hid in a cave. Also like Jeremiah to wait for rescue in Iran. And Altus, welcome in, Shalomi. Notice how neither one of his sons have an issue with this. Why would I expect his sons to have an issue with it? That's an interesting point. I would have never thought of that. They're talking to their grandfather. They can only at most I mean, we're still in the famine. You know, the older one maybe is 10, could be a little bit older. Maybe he's 12 at the most. So I don't think that they are. I know, yeah. The sons didn't say anything. The humiliated one and the honored one of the father of another, one is about to get the firstborn rights. I know, but I'm just thinking age-wise. If they are not yet 14, because the famine pretty much needs to be at the end for them to be 14, are they going to speak up when their grandfather does this anyway? That's what I'm getting at. They're not yet adults to speak up against it, Altus. Or do you think there's something more there? Which I'm guessing you might. I said humiliated, the humility of one. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess that's just a different way of thinking of it. I wasn't thinking I was doing it differently, but it could be. So Joseph comes to his father. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, wrong chapter. How did I scroll? I must have scrolled back and then scrolled back again. Okay. So Joseph is told his father's in a weakened state. The end is near. He's already made the promise in the previous chapter. Now he's going to bring in his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And so Jacob is told, your son is here. He's just come in, and he sits up on the bed. So he regains his strength. Hearing that Joseph is there gives him strength. And then he tells him about this occasion, he's telling him about this occasion that happened in the past and wanting him to know it. Will be mine, just as Reuben and Simeon are. Any children that you father after them will be yours. They will be listed under your names of their brothers. So, okay, so what is happening here? If you don't get what is happening, is when you are raising up the name of someone as like what Judah does, his son dies without an heir, so he sends his next son to marry Tamar. The firstborn son would be attributed to the first husband and would inherit the land there. Then the second son would be his heir. So what Jacob is doing here, because he has lost his son of Rachel when he was dead and had him dead for all of these years, Joseph isn't getting put back in as a name. He has been lost. And so in place of Joseph is Ephraim and Manasseh are going to be in there. So it's, to me, looking like in the inheritance line, they're getting that. But in the Behor, Joseph is already serving as that because he's already caring for the family. He has totally taken the role of the patriarch of the family, but as far as inheritance goes, the double portion is going to get split between the two sons, so they are both coming in as one son there. So they are going to be counted as his sons. So the one that was lost is replaced by the two. Any children you father after them will be yours. So if you need to pass on an inheritance, you have more kids. But these are mine. They're getting the inheritance straight from me. But as for me, when I returned from Padan, Rachel died to my sorrow in the land of Canaan. It happened along the way, some distance from Ephraim. I buried her there in the land of Bethlehem. So I don't know if this is where he's saying he wants to be buried with Rachel. I'm not quite clear on that. He's talking about his sorrow and the loss of Rachel there. Why are they compared to Reuben and Simeon, not Judah and Levi or some other pair? Okay, so Reuben is the firstborn, so that would be one reason to be compared to Reuben. I don't remember, is Simeon second or third? Is Levi second or third? Judah is 4. Judah is 4. So I know, I'm sure of that. Or I mean, I'm not sure of that. I'm pretty confident of that. So I think Simeon is 2. That would be why I was thinking it was just Reuben, Simeon, like the oldest 2 will now be them. Altus, did you have other thoughts? I'd love to hear if you have something else that I don't know. So now Joseph sees the sons and asks, who are these? So he's already mentioned, but now he's in invitation to the conversation to be introduced to them. So is this to say that in all this time, Joseph never brought them to Israel? Maybe it's been a while. Maybe it's his eyesight is bad. That's part of it that we're introduced to. But he said, these are the sons God gave me in this place. His father said, bring them to me so I may bless them now. So he has prepared a blessing for them. Notice we don't have a let's go bless everybody in the family. We have a blessing for these 2 sons right here. Well, maybe we get a blessing later for everyone else, but let's just take it. These 2 sons who are replacing Joseph are going to be blessed. His eyes are failing because of his age, and he was not able to see well. So Joseph brought his sons near to his father, kissed them and embraced them. Israel said to Joseph, I never expected to see you again, but now God has allowed me to see your children too. So this goes back to the, I thought you were dead, so in order to replace you, your two sons will replace you. So Joseph moved them from Israel's knees and bowed down with his face to the ground. Joseph positioned them. He put Ephraim on his right hand across from Israel's left, and Manasseh on the left across from Israel's right. So he's bringing them in the position so that the right hand will go on to the older child, and the left hand will go on to the younger one. So the right hand of blessing will go on the oldest, as is proper, and the left hand will go on the second. And you know what? I just realized I still have this paused, so bummer. I'll have to grab the other VOD. Okay. Altus, look at the first two born of every historical. It's fighting and disagreement. Ephraim and Manasseh are quiet during the blessing, and they don't argue with their father or their grandfather. No fighting over inheritance. Interesting. And they are Egyptian, too. Jacob and Esau fight over inheritance. Isaac and Ishmael fight over inheritance. Cain and Abel fight over inheritance. Well, are they fighting over inheritance, or they're just fighting over which one's blessing is received by God? So I might push on inheritance there at Cain and Abel. But if it's just far as brothers fighting, yeah, definitely brothers fighting is a theme here. Do Reuben and Simeon fight? Yeah, Midrash on Cain and Abel story. Sorry. Okay. So the Midrash says it's over inheritance? Oh, I did not know that. Oh, you're welcome to bring that in. You're welcome to bring that in. Don't have to apologize. I just like going, well, I don't see that. Now you have a reason why you see that. But does the age matter? Because as we see them fighting over things, I'm trying to think of Isaac and Ishmael. Yeah, I guess it does begin when Ishmael is 13. Oh, but I was thinking like they're not of age yet. So is that why they're not fighting? That's what I'm just wondering here. These were the sons of an Egyptian wife? Yes. If so, you're wondering if there was a lack of understanding of Hebrew language or a difference of opinion on the elevation in your status, Egyptian, or the inheritance of your father's people. Language is an interesting question there. I'm watching you people. Did Joseph teach his sons Hebrew? He certainly know it and used it and had an interpreter, and he may have, but we don't have any indication there in the text that talks about that. Interesting question. I like that. Okay, so he brings them this way, and Jacob goes, nope, I know who they are. I'm going to crisscross applesauce, and I'm going to bless the one I want to bless. And after he does this, Joseph tries to correct him. It's interesting that Joseph tries to correct him, because Joseph is the one who is out of place in birth order. Now, if you want to say he was from the most loved wife and the firstborn of the most loved wife, who should have been the first wife but was tricked out of the order of marriage, of being the first wife, then he could be the one seen to be the firstborn from that perspective. So he could be claiming what was rightfully taken away from him in some ways. So he wants his kids to have what's rightfully theirs. We could go down that trail, but we go around in circles. Midrash, Joseph's wife could be the daughter of Dinah from the Shechem event. Oh, interesting, because it says the daughter of a priest. So you're thinking there's a connection there? Interesting. And thus she is the number that makes up the last of the missing 70 that descended. Curious. Didn't know that, but it does say priest of On, I think it is, if I remember what right. So still would have to be connected that way. It is as if Jacob is wanting to do the same thing that he was tricked into. Yeah. Potiphar adopted her in the Midrash? Okay. That's interesting. So that would put her back into Potiphar's house when Joseph was there. That's fascinating. Okay. So we have the blessing. May God, before whom my father Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has blessed, who has been my shepherd all my life long, to this day, the angel who protected me from all harm, bless these boys. Okay, we're going to pause there. The angel. Okay, so he has said, may the God, okay, Sumerian reads king here, but the traditional reading angel may be maintained. Jacob closely associated God with the angelic protective presence. This does not mean that Jacob viewed his God as a mere angel, but it does suggest that he was aware of the angelic presence seen by God to protect him. He is closely associating with the two. Well, we have the presence of angels showing up in Jacob's lives, the angels ascending and descending, and we have the wrestling that he does. And the Old Testament seems to have no problem with, in one sentence, saying it is God, the next sentence saying it is man, and the next sentence saying it is an angel. Okay, so we have the divine showing up in the presence, and how do we describe it? Sometimes we identify it as God, sometimes as a man, sometimes as an angel. What we have clearly is, like, an angel really should be sought as his messenger, which sometimes is the role that they are taking on. Other times it's not seen as a messenger, but here it is a messenger to protect, an angel to protect. Yeah, always back to the Trinity. Well, in some ways you could say that, but the angel wouldn't necessarily equate with the Spirit of God in that same way, but it would be a manifestation of God in the presence as bringing the message, or as a man, as in being physical. But regardless, we have this, and Jacob doesn't have any problem saying these things. We have a real problem with trying to equate and heresies and all of that. Like, he's not trying to be heretical. He's trying to describe his life experience and praise God at the same time. Okay, he protected me from harm. Bless these boys. May my name be named in them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac. May they grow into a multitude on earth. So he's pronouncing a blessing over them, citing the name of his father, citing the name of his God. That's what we have going on in the text. So Joseph saw that his father placed the right hand. He displeased, already mentioned that. He tries to change it, but his father refused and says, I know, my son, I know. He too will become a nation, and he too will be great. Okay, so yeah, I'm blessing the younger one, and you thought it should have went to the older one. They both are going to have one. They're both going to be great. And so I'm going to bless them this day, saying, by you will Israel bless, saying, may God make us like Ephraim and Manasseh, the younger first, then the older. Thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. Then Israel said to Joseph, I'm about to die, but God will be with you and will bring you back to the land as one who is above your brothers. I give you the mountain slope. So you are above your brothers. I'm giving you the mountain slope that I took from the Amorites. Here's your inheritance, is the mountain slope. So we have Jacob now blessing the grandsons who are taking the place of as far as lineage goes.